You get what I mean? I could literally like okay. All right. Do you want me to stop sharing my screen or stop sharing? Okay. Stop sharing. Okie dokie. Yeah, I could see you. I see your little your icon, your Discord icon. Mhm. That's actually a good way to do it. Okay.
All right, hold on. All right, here we are. All right, so let's get started, everybody. Let's get started, everybody. Yeah. Okay. Welcome to Andy RTV. This is your boy Andy Matrix. And I am here today with a friend of mine, Jorge Paiz. You can see his little icon at the bottom right corner of the screen. He's the little icon with the kind of like the antenna. So you guys already know who I am, Andy Matrix, the host of this YouTube channel. So just a little introduction. My friend George, he's currently studying at the University of Connecticut University of Connecticut in Connecticut, of course. So George, introduce yourself real quick. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello everyone. My name is Jorge Paiz or Jorge Paiz, whichever you prefer. I study at the University of Connecticut in Yukon, Stanford. I'm a digital media and design major, and currently taking a quite interesting course in the history of digital culture.
All right, thanks for the intro, George. Okay, so today we got some pretty cool topics to talk about. So, first of all, in this channel, we talk about anime, we talk about manga, we talk about video games, geek culture, Japanese culture. I don't always talk about Western movies for a variety of reasons. There's plenty of other channels for that. But today we're going to be talking about cloud gaming. We're going to be talking about cloud gaming. And we're also going to be talking about net neutrality. Now, net neutrality, I remember, I think it was 2014 or 2015, when there was people were worried about net neutrality, what was going to happen. All these companies were planning on basically charging people more money, and you wouldn't be able to have access to Facebook unless you sign up for Comcast or some other company, right? So it was a little complicated to understand, back then, a couple of years ago. But George, or my friend George here, is here to clarify that. Okay. So first we're gonna talk about cloud gaming, the video game industry, and then we're gonna talk about net neutrality. And at the last quarter of the show, we're gonna sum it up and talk about how all of this stuff affects the how it affects the both the gaming industry and the internet and the world of the internet, because we want the internet to be free and not be so limited, so that people will be able to talk to each other worldwide, and we have an infinite amount of communication, and that's what made this, this internet age, but I mean, this internet age both good and bad because, obviously there's some people that misuse the tools that we have today, but for the most part, it's been a great tool for, the things that we can do on the internet. Is like, it's unspeakable. I mean, back in the 2000s, if you could tell, if you would have told anybody, hey, you could start a business online, without having a huge warehouse or a huge like inventory, or without spending thousands of millions of dollars, all you needed was a video streaming website called YouTube, and you could get a website for less than $100, and you could sign up for Shopify and drop ship and send your items directly to your people. Like, you'll be able to sell whatever you want from whatever part of the world, and you will be able to play video games with people in China and Japan. Like, it was unspeakable. Like, back then you could not imagine this shit, in the early 2000s, 90s. So we're really living in a great time. So let's get started. So I am here at andyrtv.com. If you have not checked out the blog, go ahead and go to the blog, andyrtv.com. It's about anime, manga, video games, geek culture, Japanese culture, all that cool stuff. So in October 5, 2021, I wrote an article about Xbox Cloud Gaming reaching 1 billion people. And that was my article. You guys can go check it out. I also did a video. But the original source of that information came from techtimes.com, right? So during the Tokyo Game Show, Microsoft revealed that they reach over 1 billion people. And I'm like, huh? Right? In the Tokyo Game Show. And I'm thinking, 1 billion people? I mean, I don't think there's, I knew there's, hundreds of millions are playing video games, but billions? Even in third world countries where people cannot afford a PlayStation or an Xbox? And then I found out that it was because of the Xbox Game Pass, which just so happens to be cloud gaming, right? So for those of you that are not familiar with cloud gaming, the way that it works is that everything, basically kind of like a website, everything is hosted on a server, right? So instead of the console being on a piece of hardware like the PlayStation, Xbox consoles, the operating system of that console is in a server, and everybody who logs in to, let's say, to the Xbox Game Pass website or the PlayStation Now cloud gaming service, when you log in, you have access to that server and the video games in that server, right? So the operating, you get access to that operating system on that website, and you can play whatever games you want. And many times, you don't necessarily download the games to your computer, not always. But what happens is that as a matter of fact, you don't even really need to have like a really strong like computer many times, because you're playing it on the cloud. You just need enough. Your internet has to be fast enough for you to be able to play the games. Let's say Call of Duty, Final Fantasy VII, Halo, whatever. Let's say a PlayStation 4 game. You could play it on the Xbox on the PlayStation Now or the Xbox Game Pass. Let's say like Halo, and all you need is a controller. Plug it into your computer, and you can play as much as you want. And basically, it's pretty unlimited. All you really need is internet access. So that eliminates the need. It eliminates the need to buy a console, an Xbox or a PlayStation 4, or pretty soon a Nintendo Switch. We're gonna talk about that later. So thus far, George, do you have anything you want to add to that?
As far as cloud gaming, I think it definitely is a new innovative idea in the fact that now gamers are going to be able to download cloud games, and they're going to have a lot of room for storage. I do kind of fear, however, for the developer side of things, because nowadays you see more and more games that are not made fully, and a lot of content that's expected to be on there is put into DLC,
Mm-hmm.
which I get. It's how the market tends to make up, for its lack of sales of physical media. like like nowadays, like people want to spend less time in line at GameStop buying discs. They just want to buy their games instantly and either have it stored in some sort of cloud space or downloaded to their system. And the drawback of that is that developers have been making games that are more or less subpar, so to speak, like they're not fully made.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they're
basically
starting to
DLC,
treat,
downloadable content.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. And there's nothing wrong with downloadable content if it's being supplied as something extra, but when it's something that like the game is like half made and it's like, oh, if you want to get this level, or oh, we've added this expansion to it, it's like it's kind of like, wait a minute, whatever happened to like making the full game? Like I feel like they're just getting my money's worth, but from the gamer side, they don't see that the developers are probably taking an undercut from this, from the cloud, from the cloud downloads. You get what I mean?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Yeah. So, and we're gonna get into that a little deeper in a few minutes. But first, I want to read this article. It says the Xbox cloud gaming now reaches as much as 1 billion people. So it says here at TechTimes.com, it says Xbox cloud gaming most recent expansion into several new countries now allows it to reach far more people than previously possible. Right? So it says by virtue of its expansion into Mexico, Brazil, Australia, Japan, Xbox cloud gaming can now technically reach as much as 1 billion people. Reports GameSpot. This is according to Microsoft themselves, who posted about the milestone of the Xbox Wire Twitter account. Right. So this is their Twitter post. Basically saying the same information. They reach 1 billion people, 26 countries. But just to make sure, just to make this clear, guys, they are able to reach 1 billion people in total, but it doesn't mean that there's 1 billion players. It just means 1 billion people that they can reach. So, in other words, potential customers. But as far as their customers, I believe it's in the tens of millions or probably hundreds of millions. They don't necessarily have 1 billion players on the Game Pass, so to speak. Just to make that clear. Because when I first heard about it, I was like, wait a minute, 1 billion players? No, come on. Anyways, it said the announcement was made as part of Microsoft's most recent Tokyo Game Show event. According to the Microsoft subscribers in the aforementioned countries can have access to over 100 Xbox Game Pass titles offered via the cloud. That's actually not that bad, depending on what games they have. 100 games. That's 100 games. And I think the Xbox Game Pass is like what, like $100, something like that, right? If I'm not mistaken, I don't know. I don't really know how much it is, but I think it's about $100 or less, maybe a little more. But it's a per year membership. So. Yeah, good. So it's a per year membership, right? Am I right?
I believe so. You're talking about for the which pad you were talking about, the Xbox one, right?
Xbox Game Pass, yes.
It's the Xbox Game Pass. Let me see. Well, yeah. So actually, I know I used to pay the 3-month one. The 3-month one was, I believe it was $40, and then for the year for 12 months it was $69, like $70.
Wait, for the whole year?
If I recall right, it's actually been a while since I've my Xbox died on me, like it, so it no longer like works, and then I switched over to a PlayStation. But yeah, if I recall right, it was like $69 for the whole year. So it was honestly not that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't sound bad. Like $69, and you can get a whole bunch of games for a whole year membership. I mean, obviously the price has gone up. It's gone up, but still, like, That's a lot. You still have a lot for a whole year's membership. That's very cheap.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with that is, for example, PlayStation always had the PlayStation Network, which for a long time was free, but I remember a lot of people were complaining about, people getting hacked. The network was getting hacked because their security, like PlayStation couldn't afford the security, and so then that's when PlayStation started implementing, charges for the PlayStation Network because they needed a way to pay for security, which is where Microsoft dominated in that area by charging people for an Xbox subscription because they were able to pay for internet security.
Yeah, understandable.
Less hacks.
Perfectly understandable. Get your money's worth. All right, so let's continue reading on, and then I'll let you speak, George. No worries. So it says, with this announcement, Xbox Cloud Gaming can now reach 26 countries and five continents. Great. However, the main goal is to actually reach 2 billion people. So this is Microsoft's goal, 2 billion people. And the way it works, the way that marketing works, right? The marketing, you're supposed to put your message out there in front of millions. And then out of millions, like a small percentage of people will sign up to your service. So out of 1 billion people, they're going to get like at least 100 million signups. Especially if it's that cheap, if it's that affordable, it's going to be great. As it says, it was announced earlier this year that Xbox wants to reach... Wait, hold on. This year that Xbox wants to reach a total of 3 billion players. That's very ambitious. And honestly, they could probably accomplish that within the next 20 years. It says...
I can see that. I can see that happening.
Yeah, definitely. It says, or almost half of the population of the entire world. That includes folks with or without any access to actual Xbox consoles. That's the magic word. Without any access to an actual console. They're on the cloud, which is where the Xbox Cloud Gaming comes in. So Xbox, and let me just stop right there. And I was telling George, we were having this conversation, that not everybody can afford a $500, $400, console, whether if it's the Xbox, PlayStation, or the Nintendo Switch. Not everybody can. For example, if you're in underdeveloped countries like in Africa, Southeast Asia, South America, people have other things to worry about other than gaming. But if gaming becomes affordable, like let's say you just pay $100 a year and you can play from your smartphone. The entire world has a smartphone nowadays, so you can play from your smartphone, your laptop, or your tablet, your digital tablet. And if you don't need a console, you just have to pay this small yearly fee. Then you will have billions of players. Anything you want to say about that, George?
One thing I definitely have to say is it seems like what Microsoft is doing now by making Xbox, everything on the cloud, it kind of sounds like they're starting to focus more on the software side of things versus when they were just mainly focused on the hardware side of things, which is kind of like how it was opposite before, because usually it's Apple that focuses on software and they keep their hardware the same. Now they're starting to focus a little bit more on hardware, and now Microsoft is starting to focus more on software. So it's nice seeing that interchangeability. And to understand more on that, I would recommend going to watch the last interview that Bill Gates and Steve Jobs had. They kind of go into more detail on it. But just by the way that sounds, it sounds like, both companies are interchangeably focusing on different things, and both of them are also focusing on games in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's you're definitely right. Back then, Microsoft was just hardware. But here's the thing. The funny thing about that is that, we're in the year 2021. We have incredible hardware. Computers and the internet are faster than ever, right? So, there's been a lot of innovation with software. I mean, there's devices that are being made now, like a universal translator. That this little device that can translate over like 100 languages, I think. Right, so I think that's one of the reasons why they're kind of like focusing more on software rather than hardware, because I don't want to say that we've reached a peak in hardware, but we've done a lot to make hardware very, what's the word? Very efficient. Very efficient. I mean, look at the Nintendo Switch. You have this small device that can play PlayStation 3 level games, right? And pretty soon, and actually now we have the Valve Steam Deck. And actually, let me just pull that up real quick. Valve Steam Deck. Now we have the Valve Steam Deck, which is actually way more powerful than a Nintendo Switch. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's got an incredible microchip processor, right? So as far as hardware, we've reached like an incredible, we an incredible milestone with hardware. So, and I think that's one of the reasons why, Microsoft and all these companies, they're focusing more on software. And then of course, maybe in a few years we're gonna see more innovation with hardware. And but thus far, this is kind of like what Microsoft and Sony are focusing on. And then probably like 50 years from now, we're gonna have alien level software. We could use a little device that will scan your whole body and tell you what kind of diseases you have. I don't know. I'm joking. Okay.
That would definitely be something innovative.
You're right. Now it says Xbox Cloud Gaming, what it does now. So it says, so far one can likely say that Microsoft and Xbox are both winning the game streaming cloud gaming wars against Sony and PlayStation, right? And actually they kind of are, because if you look at the PlayStation now, although it's a little cheaper, like Microsoft is much more beneficial, which is one of the reasons why Microsoft is actually winning and growing in Japan, because of the Xbox Game Pass, believe it or not. Japan was a country where like the Xbox was non-existent. Like Xbox in Japan did not exist, and the Xbox never sold more than like 20,000 copies in Japan, sadly. But now with the Xbox Game Pass, you have hundreds of thousands of Japanese playing it. So it says that's because unlike Sony's competing PlayStation now, Xbox Cloud Gaming offers far more access to some of the most anticipated current gen and next gen titles, even to people who don't own an Xbox console. Amazing. It says a cloud-based console is displayed at the Microsoft Xbox stand during the video games trade fair. Gamescom in Cologne, Western Germany, and this was August 21, 29. Oh, this was like 2 years ago. Wow. It says, in the official blog post, Microsoft made this pretty clear. Anybody can, for example, continue their playthrough of Gears 5 on a low-end laptop. Wow. So you can literally, let's say, even if you have like a shitty laptop like the one I had before. I had a laptop, an HP laptop that was Intel i5, right? And it didn't have the greatest graphics card. But because it's on the cloud, because if you have Xbox Game Pass on the cloud, you can play on a shitty laptop just with good internet connection, and you're good to go, man. Wow. It says low-end laptop, even if it's not specifically made for gaming. It says people also have the option to jump into games such as Sea of Thieves, even on their phones or tablets. It says furthermore, Xbox Gaming actually enables people to play current gen Xbox exclusives, because the service itself is powered by a host of custom Series X consoles, allowing for faster loading times and smoother frame rates. Wow. So the Xbox Game Pass is actually giving people access to some exclusive titles. This is amazing. Anything you want to say, George?
So wow, yeah, that's definitely great that they're now starting to make it more accessible to play these games on other devices such as a laptop, which does seem appropriate because Xbox is owned by Microsoft, and Microsoft makes PCs, they make laptops, so it's definitely good that those platforms, can interchangeably run the same games and run Xbox exclusives. I remember when the first Xbox came out. I remember when Xbox Live first came out, people were already able to connect their Xbox to their computers on Xbox Live. So I'm guessing this would definitely be the next step.
Yeah, cause just think about it. Somebody can buy a cheap ass laptop, like $400 laptop from Walmart or Target, and then you just get fast internet. I have 100 megabytes per second internet, and plug in your controller to your laptop, and you're good to go. Xbox Game Pass right there. Very easy. So this is why it's actually very possible, if you think about it, that they can actually reach their goal of 1 billion players because of cloud gaming and because of how easy and how easy it is to access.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
Like it's all about accessibility.
yeah, exactly. So they're making it so that this is why Microsoft is winning against Sony. It says, but if Xbox wants to solidify their hold on cloud gaming, they need to keep stepping their game up, especially with rumors floating around Sony's leaked plans for PlayStation Now, which actually Sony. They're actually pushing cloud gaming, and I actually wrote an article about that. I'll read it in a moment. It says a patent file back in April just surfaced, which could point to Sony's own cloud gaming service, welcoming a host of PS5 exclusive games in the future. It says should this come to pass, Xbox cloud gaming best age will be rendered almost useless. But in the end, this is still a win for the consumers. Yes, yeah. If you think about it, like this is a win for the consumers because people are gonna have the easiest times gaming. Just especially those who still can't get their hands on a Series X or PlayStation 5 console. Wow. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be better for a lot of gamers to be able to consume all these games. But I think this is where I kind of am a little bit in a disagreement with. They're starting to see gamers as more as consumers, which yes, in today's digital culture, we consume media, and media is information, just as gaming is information that we consume. But however, as a longtime gamer in the gaming culture, like I want to play a game where everything was already fully made. I don't want to get a bunch of DLCs, because DLC, like, to me, it just seems very inconvenient because it's like I have to pay for this expansion, I have to pay for that. When gaming, to me, it's like, I get it. It's almost similar like when you play tabletop games and then you buy an expansion for, say, like D&D or for Werewolf, and now they're doing it digitally, which honestly to me is a step backwards, because to me, gaming, especially, like, it's a digital platform where the whole game is already made, and that was supposed to be the convenience of it, versus having all these DLC. To me, as a gamer, and they're telling us we have to buy it, feels like a huge inconvenience, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think a lot of people agreed, and this was true when Final Fantasy 15 came out, and there was like a whole bunch of DLCs. Basically, what companies are doing is like they're making incomplete games for the purpose of of these services, right? And this was true when the when the PlayStation 4 came out, when the Xbox One came out. Once they saw, okay, well, people can download versions of our games. We can capitalize on this by offering downloadable content, right? So it's just another way of like monetizing their games. People buy the initial game, and then if they want more of the same game, we can give them downloadable content. So they basically just monetize people's desire to play more of the same game rather than just putting it in the whole thing. And now that was Xbox. That was Xbox, Microsoft. Now let's go to Sony. Because Sony, they're taking a bit of a sketchy approach. And I am at nichegamer.com, where Sony is saying Sony patents cloud gaming technology, promises elimination of piracy, alternative to consoles, right? And I made a video about this on my channel, where I was talking about how in the future with cloud gaming is going to eliminate consoles, right? So let's go ahead and hear what Sony has to say about elimination of piracy, which is I think is bullcrap. Uh, I'm sorry. Now it says Torrent Freak report that the SIE Sony Interactive Entertainment patent for system and methods of streaming game video adds to earlier patents with remote gaming becoming the more readily recognized cloud gaming. The patent goes in depth about the technical history of gaming along with the effects of the internet increasing development and production costs of games and gaming consoles. Check this out. This is what I was talking about, George. This is what I was talking about. Pay attention, guys. I'm going to repeat this again. The patent goes into depth about the technical history of gaming along with the effects of the internet and increasing development and production costs. I repeat, production costs of gaming consoles. Right there, what they're saying, they're pointing at the expense of gaming consoles, right? So,
Right.
they're pointing at the expense of gaming consoles. So they're trying to make it, or Sony at least, they're trying to make it where like they want to make cloud gaming more popular, so that they won't have to make gaming consoles because gaming consoles are so expensive. A lot of people do not know this, but when Sony and Microsoft create their consoles, their hardware, PlayStation, Xbox, hardware, it costs a lot of money, and guess what? They don't make money from that. They don't make money from making the console. They make money from selling you the games. So they actually lose money, so the people to keep people playing, but then they lose money, and then they gain money by with the video games. So it's so amazing because I think when the PlayStation 4 came out, I think back then I had read some information saying that one PlayStation 4 it cost like $800 to make in China or wherever they were making it, but they sell it to us at $400. They sell it to us at $400 because they know very well not everybody's gonna pay $800 for a console. You got to make it affordable for the masses. For Christmas, you got to make it affordable for parents, to buy their kids, a PlayStation, Otherwise, if it's like almost $1,000, the parents are going to be like, screw it. You're going to have to get your own job and buy that shit when you're older. Anything you want to say, George?
I would definitely have to say that I get from a developer's perspective and from a company perspective that they want to, end the piracy, and they want to, what did you say? They want to not only eliminate piracy, but they want to crack down on. Wow, you just said it just a minute ago, and I'm sorry, folks.
So basically, they're saying that they want to eliminate the elimination of piracy, alternative to consoles. That's what they're saying.
There was something else. You said it. The thing you repeated twice.
Yeah, production cost, development, and production costs.
Yeah, like development and production costs, which hardware does cost, but like at the same time, like it makes sense, practicality, because like $800 versus $400, that's a huge difference in affordability. But I think it also comes down to marketing. Because look at Apple products. You have iPhones that are literally $1,000 or so, and people are literally breaking their backs at work, nearly going into debt to pay to get these iPhones. So I think they have a good system that they can make money back off of the system itself. The thing is, I just think their marketing campaign hasn't been very prominent in being able to, because as gamers we know, but they also they have to reach beyond the gamer. They have to reach the casual gamer.
Exactly.
So, and the thing is, I remember PlayStation, and I think this is why for a while PlayStation has been very dominant, is they had a very good marketing campaign. Like if you saw commercials even for the PSP, like you remember how you would see commercials where these like squirrels were like talking to each
Oh my
other.
God, yes, PSP.
Yes.
PSP is
Yeah,
like a nut you can play with outside.
yeah, yeah. It's and
Oh
then
my God, I
you
remember
listen.
that. I remember that. Yeah,
You
that
can
was
listen
so
to
funny.
cheese. You can listen to Swiss. You can listen. Yeah, and they had a good and mark. The thing is, they had a good marketing campaign. Which, yeah, the PSP. Don't get me wrong, it had its short-lived lifespan, but it sold, which allowed him to make the. There was a second PSP that they made. Oh, the PlayStation Vita. I think that's what it was
Yeah,
called.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But then because of that, they were able to also, on top of that marketing campaign, they were able to market uh the PlayStation, which was PlayStation 3. Nowadays, you don't see much of marketing and commercial for a lot of PlayStation games. 'Cause I remember there used to be a lot. I don't see it. Maybe it's just me because I'm not. I used to see it a lot on TV when I would watch like WWE or I'd be watching whatever it was on TV. But nowadays, because people, they either have an ad blocker or they're uh, on a streaming service, they don't see this type of marketing, and I feel like they've
Yes,
failed.
yes.
They failed in their marketing strategy to kind of reach people to try to get them to buy these consoles. Because think about it, Apple is still selling iPhones at 1,000, and why is that? Because their marketing strategy is good, and I think that PlayStation's marketing strategy has fallen by the wayside. It that's the best way I could
Yes.
describe it.
I want to add to that, George. I want to add to that, and I'm glad, man. I didn't think of that, but you brought up a good point about the commercial. See, because now remember, gaming is changing, but television changed. Once Netflix innovated video streaming, television changed it changed from then. I mean, we literally saw like in 2010, we literally saw like television change from cable to video streaming. So there's a lot of cable cutters out there. The only people that still have like DirecTV and cable boxes, like cable television, are basically, man, I don't want to talk negatively, but about boomers. Boomers will be the only ones that have this, and basically older people that are not like technologically savvy. But most people, millennials, Gen Z, and most people have either Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, whatever. Because even YouTube has become, a news outlet. YouTube itself, because now on YouTube you see all the news channels, CNN, Fox News on YouTube, all these news channels. They're now on YouTube. Celebrities. I mean, I was watching, what's her name? Chrissy Carlson Romano, the girl from Even Stevens. She has a YouTube channel.
Yep.
So
and
it's
she lives
true.
in Connecticut.
Yeah, and so now that since television has changed, and when kids come home from school, they don't see the PlayStation commercial, with the squirrels. They don't see it on TV when their parents are in the living room. They go on their computer. They get home from school. They sit down in front of the computer. They go on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and they don't always see the ad. Now, what they're doing, George, now is they're using influencers. Influencers are the ones that are helping people make a buying decision. Like, let's say, for example, the Nintendo Switch OLED, the new, kind of like an upgraded version of the Nintendo Switch, the OLED. Like, you have YouTubers, they give a free copy to a YouTuber, right? And the YouTuber will review the new console, and then because they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers or whatever, that's how they convince people to buy. With Instagram influencers, YouTube influencers, this influencer, that influencer. So they still have a marketing campaign on the internet and on other video ad services like I think the Amazon ads, whatever, and Google ads. But for the most part, like, people are making buying decisions, by listening to their influencers, like PewDiePie and things like that. So that's that's a contribution. That's a contribution to what's happening. And man, I almost lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's yeah, like you were saying about Apple still selling $1,000 phones, $1,000 phones. You have to understand.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and also how you were saying influencers. Just to comment on that, I'm seeing like nowadays, like for example, I watch Nostalgia Critic, and he even like now I notice in between his commercials, sorry, in between his videos, he makes commercials. He makes his own commercial for whatever sponsor he's doing, and even though the commercial is like maybe like a minute, 2 minutes or so, I don't skip through the commercial. I watch it just because it's entertaining, and it's like 'cause it feels like very personable, and there's were even times where it's like, wow, I kind of want to buy this product just simply because of the fact that Nostalgia Critic Doug Walker took his time to make that commercial and make it so funny and make it so ridiculous. And also people like for example Finn McKenzie, people have now a lot of influencers will say like today's video sponsor is so and so, and they'll find a way to segue into that video sponsor as they're giving whatever content it is
Oh
they're
yeah.
giving.
And a good
And
example
so
of that, I'm sorry for interrupting, but a good example of that, like, you remember Finn McKenzie? Even Finn McKenzie was advertising the, what you call it?
McKenzie.
Yeah, McKenzie. The shaver, the, what you call it? The, that new shaver?
I think it's Gillette.
No, no,
I
it's
think
like,
Gillette.
it's a shaver so that you can, like, shave your bottom bush. What was it called again? I forgot the name of it. But a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of YouTubers are marketing it. It's called the oh my goodness, I forgot the name of it.
Well, either way, he also promoted other stuff. Like I remember there was a mobile RPG game that he promoted.
League of Legends?
Oh yeah. No, League of Legends isn't mobile. Mobile as in phone.
Yeah.
I remember when Iron Maiden came out with an app, Finn McKenzie was promoting it, and he's like, "Oh, come join my clan." And the fact that influencers, you can now play online with these influencers. It's kind of like if Vin Diesel, like imagine if Vin Diesel had a YouTube channel and he was just like, oh, he says, "Oh, come play D&D with me," which we know Vin Diesel does. He plays D&D.
Yeah.
Like imagine if he did that. Like many people would be drawn to that because they're like, "Oh my God, I'm playing D&D with Vin Diesel." So it's a matter of the fact that influencers are the new celebrity of the digital age, of digital culture, because they actually have a more personal and interactive relationship with their audience versus the old Hollywood stars where it's like, okay, they have bodyguards so that way people don't meet them. You have to get in line to get their autograph, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Nowadays, you have a lot of access as an influencer. You have more access to your fan base, which is a problem that, which was such a huge disconnect problem between celebrities, Hollywood celebrities, and their fans. I know I went a little bit off topic, but that's one of the key reasons why. That's one of the key things that a lot of marketing, a lot of companies realize that by having these influencers market their product, that's how they're able to get it in front of people, because they know that people are not programmed by a TV anymore unless you're watching live sports. Yeah, unless you're watching live sports, like you can watch your stuff when you want it, and if you want to avoid spoilers, just don't go on social media. That's it.
Exactly.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm sorry if I went off on a tirade here.
No, thanks a lot, George. Thanks a lot, definitely. Let's finish up with this article because we got to wrap up this section about cloud gaming. So it says, curiously, the patent describes the gaming console market, listing PlayStation 1, 2, 3, Xbox 360, Nintendo GameCube, the Wii. Nonetheless, the patent's publication date is June 3rd. Piracy is described as a major issue for the gaming industry, therein as virtually every major video gaming system have been cracked over the years. And actually, just to be fair, like usually, that's for older games like the Nintendo 64, the PlayStation 1 and 2, they do get cracked, right? They do get cracked, but like the newer ones, like the PS4, PS5, those it takes hackers like years to actually. So by the time there's a new console, the hackers, they can't, they can't, they have to basically start over and learn how to crack those new consoles. It says vulnerability of downloadable games, weak policing against piracy in some parts of the world, and gaming consoles being expensive in some parts of the world were all noted as also contributing to piracy. Used games were also noted as reducing revenue. Yeah, GameStop, anybody? So it says, while the patent does admit how users have little tolerance for high latency in fast action video games, cloud gaming is discussed as a way to counteract the above issue. The game codes and data are accessed remotely by a player. So basically, they saying that they can fight piracy with cloud gaming, but because with cloud gaming, the only way you can get in, you need an account in, and much like Epic Games. I don't know if anybody has Epic Games. I have it here on my desktop. If anybody has Epic Games, like Epic Games has, when you log in, there's like 3 levels of security. So like it sends you like a text message to your phone to confirm it, and when you make an account, it checks to see if your password has been used before in other networks. So basically, so yeah, in a way, I guess they're kind of eliminating piracy. But here's the problem. You, as the gamer, you will not own the game. You're renting the game by paying the monthly fee. Yeah, you can play unlimited. You can play as much as you want, but you don't own the game. And this is the problem with cloud gaming that people don't understand. And I think like a lot of people do, like a lot of these companies do, they always use an excuse as to why they're doing what they're doing. Why they're doing the things that they're doing. Like in Sony's case, they're saying, eliminating piracy. Because Xbox is pushing cloud gaming. They never mention anything about piracy. So that's why I'm kind of fishy about Sony's, little excuse here, right? All right, so and then the rest of the article is pretty much talking about the same thing. All right, so let's wrap up. I want to wrap this up by saying one more thing. You go ahead, George. You were going to say something?
Yes, I actually do want to say so. Kyle, you were talking about, they're cracking down on hackers. There's actually a lot of people who hack systems are referred to as who tinker with systems, whether it's software, hardware, known as hobbyists. And they're actually, I have a short letter here from Bill Gates. It's an open letter to hobbyists. If I quickly want to read this.
Yeah, go ahead.
It says, an open letter to hobbyists. To me, the most critical thing in the hobby market right now is the lack of good software courses, books, and software itself. Without good software, an owner who understands programming, a hobby computer is wasted. Will quality software be written for the hobby market? Almost a year ago, Paul Allen and myself, expecting the hobby market to expand, hired Monty Davidoff and developed Alter Basic. Though the initial work took only 2 months, the three of us have spent most of the last documenting, improving, adding features to BASIC. Now we have 4K, 8K extended, ROM, and disk BASIC. The value of the computer time we have used exceeds $40,000. The feedback we have gotten from the hundreds of people who say they are using BASIC has all been positive. 2 surprising things are apparent, however. Most of these users never bought BASIC. Less than 10% of the Altair owners have bought BASIC. And 2, the amount of royalties we have received from the sales to hobbyists make the time spent of Altair Basic worth less than $2 an hour. Why is this? A majority of hobbyists must be aware. Most of you steal your software. Hardware must be paid for, but software is something to share. Who cares if the people who worked on it get paid? Is this fair? One thing you don't do by stealing software is get back at MIT's for some problem you may have had. MIT's doesn't make money selling software. The royalty paid us. The manual, the tape, and the overhead make it a break-even operation. One thing you do is prevent good software from being written. Who can afford to do professional work for nothing? What hobbyists can put 3-man years into programming, finding all bugs, documenting, product distribute for free. The fact is, no one besides us has invested a lot of money in hobby software. We have written 6800 BASIC and are writing 8080 APL and 600 and 6,800 APL, but there is very little incentive to make this software available to hobbyists. Most directly, the thing you do to it itself. What about the guys who resell Altair Basic? Aren't they making the money on hobby software? Yes, but those who have been reported to us may lose in the end. They are the ones who give hobbyists a bad name and should be kicked out of any club meeting they show up at. I would appreciate letters from any and who want to pay up or have suggestion or comment. Just write to me, 1180 Alberto SC, apartment 114, Albuquerque, New Mexico 87108.
He gave his address?
Yes,
Holy
nothing
shit.
would please nothing would please me more than being able to hire 10 programmers and delug the hobby market with good software. Bill Gates, general partner at Microsoft.
Nice.
So that's an open letter to hobbyists, because a lot of hobbyists. 'Cause I remember back in high school, I had 2 friends that were hobbyists. I remember a friend of mine, back when I had the old iPod, he actually installed Linux on my iPod, and then I had to all of a sudden something went wrong. I couldn't use it like I used to, and then he told me, okay, send it to Apple to get it fixed, but don't tell them you mess with their software, because they don't like that. And it's true.
Yeah.
Apple does not like anything messed with. They
They're
don't
a
like
closed
their software
platform. It's a
messed with.
closed platform.
Yep, exactly. They're a very closed platform. So hobbyists, be considerate of all the time and energy it took to make the hardware and make the software. If you want to get into it, hey, contact Bill Gates. He'll hire you.
Right, and all right. So thanks for that letter, George. I mean, I can't believe Bill Gates gave his address, but I want to cover this real quick before we get into net neutrality. So Sony's Microsoft Azure Power Cloud servers will be PlayStation exclusive, and this is where I don't want to say conspiracy, but this is like. You know how people say, oh, PlayStation, Xbox. Little do they know that Microsoft and Sony are actually working together, right? So
just like Apple and Microsoft are working together.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it says, wondering what's new on Sony's in development cloud strategy. It says, well, keep waiting, because even though the company entered into strategic partnership with Microsoft 2019 to enhance its cloud capacities and utilize Azure, word on what the fruit of that partner's labor will be is still pretty vague, says here. The big thing that we know now is that whatever Sony creates for its cloud gaming ambition will be PlayStation exclusive. Now, it says, where's the Jim Ryan still conversing Microsoft regarding exchange idea, but that's not all the news. Cloud gaming. I'm trying to get to the part where they say that they're actually working with Microsoft, because so basically Microsoft Azure Power Cloud, Sony is going to be using Microsoft's cloud. I mean, just think about that. Sony is going to be using Microsoft's cloud. So basically they're sharing servers, okay? I mean, that's a pretty big deal, man.
It is.
Yeah, so and then what was it? The president of Microsoft the president CEO of Sony says, Jim Ryan mentioned that Sony is still conversing with Microsoft regarding exchanging ideas. Then it says, we could conceivably use the cloud for our technical infrastructure, but the cloud gaming experience we're offering will be unique only on PlayStation, Ryan said, revealing that Sony's cloud service is planned for PlayStation users only, right? Ryan goes on to say, in response to a question on whether cloud tech will disrupt PlayStation traditional hardware cycle, that at the end of the cycle the cloud may play some role. I'm optimistic about the future when I was than I was a year ago. So the president goes on. Then it says that Ryan then circled back to the discussion of PlayStation 5 is still a new release, so Sony's priority is seeing how consumers react to the console before it drives into the uncharted headwaters of the future PlayStation endeavors. So here's what I'm gonna say. And again, this is not confirmed. This is just my personal opinion, my educated opinion as to seeing how the industry is going. Is that PlayStation 5 might be the last console that we see. After PlayStation 5, they might have like a PlayStation 5 Lite version. They always make like a second version, like a lighter version of it, right? So that could be the last console that we see from Sony. Same thing with Microsoft. The Xbox Series X might be the last one. Then after that, they're gonna go full cloud gaming, right? Hey George, go ahead.
Yeah, they always seem to make a light version, and part of the reason is, as there's a law, and I believe it's called Moore's law. It talks about how as technology improves, technology should be more accessible and more like sleeker.
Yes.
More like so it's all a part of Moore's law, so to speak, and how you improve technology. And how do you improve technology? By making it, more portable, more accessible, which we've come a long way.
Oh, yeah.
To that, which I'm going to go deeper into once we get into the net neutrality discussion. So, yeah, PlayStation always seems to do that. And you could have a possibility, but right now, it comes down to one thing: the market, how players see it, and if PlayStation somehow decides to change its market strategy, which I don't think it's going to happen unless they hire a whole new marketing team that understands a better concept and a better grasp of how digital culture works.
Yes, definitely, man.
In my honest opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, because think about it. Like the PlayStation 5, like how much more advanced, how much more realistic can the computer graphics get? Because we went from Unreal Engine 4, right? And now we have Unreal Engine 5 and these graphics. If you look at the software, if you go to the Unreal Engine website, like the graphics are so realistic, so they mimic reality so well, right? Like, are we gonna make a console that that basically that that we're gonna make a console so powerful with brand new graphics that to the point where you cannot tell which one is more realistic, right? So I really think that PlayStation 5 could be the last gaming console that we see, along with the Xbox Series X, and of course, Nintendo Switch is gonna make a new one because Nintendo Switch, they haven't updated their hardware since the release of 2017. So Nintendo Switch still got like maybe one or two more consoles to make, and then after that, they're gonna go cloud gaming too. Because I told you before, they announced Kingdom Hearts Sora for Smash Brothers, but they also they're all like the Kingdom Hearts games that are coming to Nintendo Switch. They're all gonna be on the fucking cloud, all of them, even the PlayStation 2 ones, even for the PlayStation 2, like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, they're gonna be for the cloud, and that's it. that's Nintendo's plan, and yeah, they never even bothered to mention of a physical copy. So okay, yep. So we're gonna go ahead and switch to net neutrality. We're gonna start talking about net neutrality now, and George, I'm gonna pass the ball to your court. So let me stop sharing here. So I need you to share your screen, please.
Yes. Give me one moment here. One moment here, folks, while I switch over, and I've really, been dying to talk about this topic for a while. So give me one moment here. Give me 1 moment here, sir. Okay. Yep. Here we go.
Now let me expand that.
Okay.
All right. So
All right.
Where's
So
the
before I
content?
get okay, so here we have this article right here. It's called "As We May Think,"
Okay, there we go.
which is about consider the future of the device in which an individual stores all his books, records, communications, and which is mechanized so that it may be consulted with exceeding speed and flexibility. It is an exchange. It is an enlarged, intimate supplement to his memory by Vannevar Bush. Now, uh, a little bit about who Vannevar Bush is. He invented what was known as. He had an idea for what was known as the Memex or Memex machine, however you want to uh, pronounce it. Uh, uh, Andy, you still with me?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, however you want to pronounce it. So the Memex machine, his idea for the Memex machine, was a machine where all our information could be stored on like cue cards. So, from like books to newspaper articles to movies, and then you would have a button like, say, if you wanted to go to the first page of your first book, that button would take you to the cover page or the page of your first book instantly. Now, right here it says there have not been scientists of war that have been at war and have had part the scientists buying their old professional competition and in demand of the common cause have shared greatly and learned much. It has been accelerating to work in effective partnership. Now, for many, this appears to have an approaching to an end or scientists do next. Now, the reason I'm sharing this about the Memex machine is because when you think about today, how close we got to think of all the ways we are able to access all our information, from Google to the iPhone to iPads to laptops to all these devices are pretty much as close as we got to Vannevar Bush's Memex machine. Were because think about it, his Memex machine. The idea came around in like about the 50s. So this like predates. This was in a way kind of like the building blocks that predates anything that we had as far as Google and things like that. Now, why do I bring this up? Is because nowadays the technology that we have, um, for example, the internet. Most people don't know this. The internet was invented back in 1957.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and and back in 1957, when the internet was first created, I actually remember I did Andy, I remember I shared a book with you called "The Internet: The Future of the Internet and How to Stop It." Uh, this was a really insightful read. I recommend reading it. It talks a lot about the future of the internet and where we're kind of heading, and it's kind of scary. And I wrote a little short summary on this. So after reading the future of the internet, how we're going to stop it, and watching the history of the internet, and also a package sale, which by the way are very good informative videos, guys. Check them out. They're very short. I find it very critical and very vital that we as users of the internet who use it in our everyday lives must do all that we can to fight for net neutrality. As the internet has become an integrated part of our everyday lives, we use it to access and consume information, whether it be entertainment, news, email, shopping, etc. I realize that after understanding how the internet is the open network of information that we have used to unshackle us from having to overspend or jump through cybernetic hurdles to gain the information we want at our fingertips in our various technologies, equipments phones, tablets, and laptops. Since the internet's infantry stage in 1957, that's when the internet was made, as mentioned in the history of the internet played a vital role in decoding the secret messages that were shared amongst the Nazis in World War II. So, believe it or not, ladies, everyone, the internet, when it was first invented, it was an open network, connection where we were able. It was an open network where we were able to access information, which is what it was meant to do, and it was on really big machines, like a lot bulkier
Mm-hmm.
machines, and eventually they became, IBM computers, and we used it to decode secret messages that were being shared amongst the Nazis, and it's also how we used, like I wrote here, we used it to win the war, and also discovering that the Russians were launching Sputnik into space. Now, fast forward to the 1990s and the 2000s, where even though now everyone in America has means to access the internet and their own homes to communicate with relatives across the country or across the globe, where kids can now get all the research they need for their school paper with just the help of a search engine like Google. The first wave of the internet renaissance was brought to our home computers together on an open network. Yet companies like AOL, CompuServe, for those of you who are unfamiliar with these companies, back in the 1990s, early 2000s, you would have to use, in order to access the internet, you would have to buy, in a way, from a company such like America Online or
AOL.
CompuServe. Yeah, yep, AOL, and it would block your phone signal. So back in the day, it's not like today where you can use the internet and use the landline phone at the same time. Though nowadays that's been solved with the cell phone. And the internet was a lot slower back then. But also, the only way you were able to access it is through these companies. We didn't have Wi-Fi, just like we do today.
Right.
And
George,
people, yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting you. So, we get about the internet, but
Yeah. This is a critical part as to why the net neutrality is, because we were still locked in a form of a closed network, depending on which company and what your speed and certain you were able to get back in the day. Now, at one point, AT&T was trying to take control of the internet. They wanted to gain control of it, and it mentions it in the future of the internet and how to stop it. How AT&T was trying to make it so that way you would have to pay AT&T to use the internet, but fortunately people fought against it, and they didn't want that. Now, if you look at today, now companies like, for example, Optimum owns NBC News.
yeah.
They are not only just an internet provider, they are a content provider. Just like with I believe it was Xfinity, or Comcast rather, because now they merge. They own NBC. Oh yeah, so Optimum owns Channel 8, and then Comcast owns.
By the way, do you have any articles on that, on these companies and net neutrality?
Let me see. It was hold on. Let me get the one that I shared with you. The one on hold on. Let me find it here. Give me a minute, folks. It was the one on the book I gave you, the future of the internet. Hold on. I'm trying to share this here. Give me a minute, folks.
If we could just, take a look at that article or video.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. I believe you have it on your screen. Do you want to switch screens for a sec?
No, because since you're talking, I wanted to use your screen share.
Oh, yes. Give me one
sec. Or you could just, look it up on YouTube or just Google it real quick.
Okay. Yep. Hold on. The future of the internet. Future of the internet and how to stop it.
There it is.
Okay, yeah. Yep, the future of the internet and how to stop
it. Yeah, go ahead.
You could get it. So this was the book that you could the book that I was talking about. And if you go here, it was pages 11 through 32 where it mentions this. I'm gonna quickly. It's a long read, so I'm not gonna go like.
Yeah, we're not gonna go through the whole book. Just
Yeah,
summarize it.
yeah. That's why I pulled up this short summary right
Right.
here.
Okay.
Okay, so if AT&T had succeeded and controlled the internet, restricting users to certain content, which is happening now with Apple removing apps, like for example, Apple recently removed Fortnite from their app, and believe it or not, oh yeah, actually there is an article on that I have somewhere around. Yep, judge in Fortnite case loses application.
You
Yes,
copy
it's
it.
right here on the Guardian. Yep, on the Guardian.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, yeah, here we go. Judge in Fortnite case loses Apple's control over App Store. As a U.S. judge on Friday ruled that the major antitrust lawsuit against Apple's App Store, striking down some of Apple's restrictions on how developers can collect payments from users. The ruling came as part of the lawsuit brought by Epic Games, the creator of Fortnite. Epic accused Apple of running its App Store as a monopoly, exercising too much power over the apps that are allowed and how they run. It took aim at Apple's in-app purchase policies, under which the charges developers up to 30% commission on profits. Friday's ruling strikes down a core part of Apple's App Store rules, which prohibit developers from telling users about other places they can go to pay the developer directly rather than using Apple's payment mechanisms. Judge Giovanni Gonzalez Rogers issued a nationwide order that allows developers to put in their apps buttons, external links, and other calls to action that direct customers to purchasing mechanisms. The ruling has also said that the Apple cannot ban developers. Okay, so wow, so they actually stopped this. Cause for a while,
Wait, who
Fortnite
stopped
was
it?
taken. So the judge ruled that Apple cannot, like, let's say you and me make a game, right? And we make it for the Apple. We make it accessible for Apple, but we also make it accessible for other platforms.
You're right.
And
Right.
let's say Apple tries telling us, "Oh, you can't share this. You can't tell other people where you can get this. It has to be specifically our store." You know, the judge ruled that they cannot do that.
Wow.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I get. Yeah,
The
I get
judge
it.
ruled,
They
yeah.
they wanted it all to themselves. You know.
Oh, but it says the judge ruled Epic failed to. Oh, wait a minute. No, they didn't. Hold on. Ruled Apple open iPhone up in third-party app stores. The judge ruled Epic failed to demonstrate Apple as an illegal monopolist, but did show the smartphone giant engaged in anti-competitive conduct under California laws. A remedy to eliminate those provisions is appropriate. The court ruling read that this measured remedy will increase competition, increase transparency, increase consumer choice and information while preserving Apple's iOS ecosystem, which has procurative justifications. Epic made clear on Friday that while key components of the case were ruled in its favor, it does not consider the decision a win and that it plans to appeal. In other words, Apple didn't like the fact that, Epic Games did this. Today's ruling isn't a win for developers or for consumers. Chief Executive Tim Sweeney said on Twitter, Epic is fighting for fair competition among in-app payment methods and app stores for billions of consumers. The feud between Apple and Epic Games intensified last August, which Epic tried to bypass Apple's App Store commission by launching its own payment system within its widely popular game Fortnite. Apple responded by pulling Fortnite game from the App Store. Epic Games sued on Friday. Ruling comes after a 3-week trial and maybe before the district in Northern District of California. The trial saw Epic Games call Sweeney to testify, as well as Apple Chief Executive Tim Cook. Cook is a highly anticipated testimony to justify. Yeah, so wow, they're really. So yeah, Apple didn't like this. Like they want to take that 30% cut, and they don't like.
They're a closed platform. They're a closed platform. It's kind of like the Amazon. If you ever use the Amazon Kindle, Amazon just wants you to buy books from them and buy from them only. And now Amazon is producing their own products. Amazon is producing their own their own cables, their own their own products, their own keyboards to sell and compete with other companies.
Yeah, and this is where it's very, very vital to keep the internet neutral, because now these companies who are like Apple has Apple TV, they're not only just providing phones. They are now also a content creator. All these companies are trying to, just make content that they can have. Like, for example, Disney tried to um, put a copyright on Dia de los Muertos, which you can't do.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they did that. They tried to.
Copyright?
Yeah, so only they could use Dia de los Muertos. They're trying to put a copyright on a culture. Now, why do I bring this up? Now, what does this have to do with internet neutrality, you ask? Now, think about it.
I'm sorry.
Like I mentioned, and here's what my professor kind of worried. I've talked about this with my professor, Professor Warwood, great professor. He has a documentary called Class of 2032, which talks about, how digital culture, and the effects of the learning environment for schools, but that's a different topic. One of the things that he fears is with companies now, like with like Comcast owning NBC and Optimum owning Channel 8, and then, all these, it's going to be kind of like when cable, you remember back when you're only able to get certain channels with a certain cable package, or if you didn't have this package, it's kind of like that. Now imagine that with the internet. Let's say, like, okay, you get Comcast, you're able to access Facebook, Google, YouTube, but say they want to visit NDR-TV, you can't. And they tell you, oh, no, you can't, because in order to do this, you have to buy this extension or this package in order to access these other websites. It's going to be like that. It's kind of like having millions of channels, but you can't access them all unless you have a specific package. And that's why, like, if we don't keep the internet neutral, if we let these companies, like, use the internet that way, they're limiting our access to information, to the point of the internet is being an open network of information is for us to gain access to it, for us to gain access to information that that where we were like paying hand over fist for extra packages. Like nowadays, like say if you don't have Channel 8 News, you could just go on Google or go on channel8news.com and watch the live feed. Now, if we eliminate net neutrality, all these companies are going to be able to, bring us back to square one, how we did with the cable packages.
Yeah, pretty much.
So scary. And that's what's so scary. And that's what's scary about this, Apple taking Fortnite off of Epic Games, because they don't want Epic Games to give people other options to buy it. Like, that's like, for example, let's say you go and you buy like a figure or whatever product at a certain store, and it's like a certain price, but then you go to a bigger company where they sell the same product and it's at a more expensive price. But honestly, you could report that company because they're selling it at a price that's way above original profit value. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, but I mean, there seems to be a monopoly everywhere. Like Disney owns Marvel, Disney owns Fox. Or at least they bought the shares or whatever it is, right? Disney owns Discovery, ESPN. It's like, and then you have Microsoft. Microsoft recently bought like 2 studios. They bought Bethesda and they bought somebody else. And then Sony bought 2 other studios, I think. They haven't bought Square Enix, which I freaking hope they don't. They haven't bought Square Enix, but they bought 2 other studios. And the reason why they do that is because it's that they're preparing for cloud gaming. They'll have the studios make the games, right? They'll have the studios make the games, but then, like, the only way to access those games that those studios make is on their platform, on the PlayStation platform or on the Xbox platform. So now it's like it's an empire. Everybody's just kind of building this empire of ownership, just ownership over content. Because content has become king. It's just like, and we experienced the same when Netflix first came in the early 2010s.
It's not just content. It's intellectual property.
Yes.
Because when you think about it, you're like, yeah, you can make intellectual property, but at some point, like, yeah, you could get paid royalties for it, but it should be accessible to like the point of making intellectual property is so that way it's accessible on whatever platform. The thing is, I'll give you one example of how something is really doing bad. And this is a little bit goes off of gaming. Look at the WWE. They made WWE Network.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is where they failed from day one by saying WWE Network. It's like Netflix but better. Okay, how are you better than Netflix? Okay, you provide only wrestling content that's associated with that market versus Netflix provides movies and drama, sci-fi, horror, action, anime, even wrestling documentaries. Like, and then they put all the pay-per-views, which, by the way, like, for example, people order UFC pay-per-views just like people order wrestling pay-per-views, but
Yeah.
they put every pay-per-view where you could get it for, like, just by paying a $9.99 a month subscription, and a lot of people in the company, from wrestlers and stuff like that, were getting pay cut, we're getting, their pay cut into, and they're losing money. And now look at where they are now. Now the WWE Network, like, it went belly up, and it got bought out by Peacock, and now the WWE Network is on Peacock, and now WWE is losing talent.
Hey, by the way,
Now-
isn't Peacock? Wait, who's the company that owns Peacock? Wasn't it like CNBC or somebody? Who was it?
I'm not sure.
Was it
Actually,
CNBC?
Let me look that up. Let me actually look that up.
Wait, was
to
it
see who owns-
PBS? I mean, because Peacock, it was.
Let's actually look that up.
Yeah.
Who owns Peacock?
NBC.
NBC.
Yeah, I was right. I was right.
Okay, this is an example right here. Okay, think about it. Peacock, as long as you have a Peacock account, you can access it from anywhere. And you could access, like it says here, Telemundo, NBC, Fox, NBC News, Viacom, Universal Pictures. And it's like, and then you have, look at HBO Max. HBO mainly does movies. It does do shows. But HBO, think about it. Everything that ends up on Cartoon Network ends up on HBO Max. Same thing with like everything that's like DC related ends up on HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Now think about it. Now this is an example of an internet streaming service, now buying out like channels. And now I know, for example, recently, I know at my house, we had Xfinity, and you were able to, if you had an Xfinity account, you got Peacock for free. So they had to strike, like before, I remember back when Netflix was and streaming services were pretty new.
Yeah.
And if you were to call your cable company and tell them, hey, how can I access Netflix through my TV? And they would tell you, oh, well, Netflix is a competitor of ours, so you can't really do that through your TV. Like, you had to
Wait, hold
access
on. Wait. So repeat that again. So you had Xfinity, you got Peacock for free.
Yeah, you got Peacock for free.
But what happened with Netflix though?
Well, no, this was before Xfinity, like way back when Netflix was still prominently new to the game. When it was starting to snowball and it was starting to build up, like you would call the cable company and ask them, hey, how can I watch Netflix on my TV through the box? And they would tell you, oh, Netflix is a competitor of ours, so you can't really do that. And the only way you'd be able to watch Netflix is either on your laptop, or if you had like a console where the app was available.
Okay.
And consoles were kind of ahead of the game, and now, for example, with network streaming services, like for example Xfinity, like you press the remote and you say Netflix, it takes you right to Netflix. Now you could access Netflix, with a cable package, because they saw the future, they saw the money in it, and they saw that how people, okay, we're still going to give them the channels that are programmed, but we're going to also allow them to have access to Netflix. That way we don't lose money. And so you're not only paying for a cable service, an internet service, you're also paying, you have your Netflix account, which is separate on top of that.
all the apps.
Yeah, but Peacock, I know you get it free if you have Xfinity. I know other channel services do it. I know Xfinity does that with them. But this is an example of like how monopolized the internet and cable companies have become. The cable companies want to gain control of the internet because they want to make the internet and all this access to all this free information. You can think about it. You could go to a cafe spot or Barnes and Noble and access Wi-Fi and look up all this information for free. The most you would have to do is buy a coffee for like $4 or
Mm-hmm.
$3. And now these companies want to restrict it so that way, let's say if you one day like, and if they succeed, let's say one day you're at your favorite cafe spot and you're trying to access Wi-Fi and you're trying to access like NDR TV, you won't be able to access it at all because it's like, oh no, like, you're only able to NDR TV is now owned by Cablevision or whatever. Yeah, you see what I mean? Like, there's going to be so many restrictions, especially to, the home computer and the home access. There's already websites that are restricted depending on what internet service provider you
Yeah.
have. So,
And then they're gonna
it's
be like,
starting
oh,
to
you
get in.
can't access Xbox depending on what service you have.
Yeah, so this is why net neutrality is important because digital media, media itself, whether it's gaming, whether it's the internet, whether it's the news, whether it's whatever, is all about information. Even entertainment is information, and we are in an age where digital culture, we consume a lot of information. We're bombarded with it even, and it
Mm-hmm.
affects our behavior. It affects how we can think about it. You could now get whatever show you want to watch or movie you want to watch at your fingertips. You are able to get a date on the internet now. Think about it. Think about it. You're able to get a date now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can meet Tinder. Fucking I remember back when eHarmony was like super popular. Match.com, OkCupid. Apparently OkCupid is still popular. Plenty of Fish, a whole bunch of websites like
Well, what I'm saying is like,
oh man.
digital culture, it's so prominent, and I'm gonna reference back to this movie right here, Class of 2032, because now kids are starting to learn. Kids as early as 2 years old are starting to learn how to use the iPad and how to look up their favorite unboxing video quicker than they're able to learn their shapes or ABCs or who Santa Claus is.
Yeah, I mean, forget about toys and shit, an iPad. that's it. I'm kind of jealous of Gen Z, but at the same time I'm not.
Well,
And
right now, the thing of it is like, they are gonna be able to access. They're gonna have a lot of access to it, but the thing is, there has to be the right amount of nurturing and good implementation, especially in the school systems, because now the school systems are going to start to apply this because the school systems have been, way behind in being able to change the way learning is, because we're relying less on the written word but more on the spoken word, and that's actually mentioned here in this video. I'm just gonna play the first 2 minutes of it.
yeah, go ahead,
if I
go
may.
ahead. Yep.
Okay. Are you able to hear it?
I think it's muted. Is it muted?
No, it's not muted. It's hold on. Let me see if I could share.
No, because the thing is, we can hear you because of your microphone, but we cannot hear the audio of your computer.
Hold on. Speaker Apex headset, voice activity, push talk, voice settings. Hold on. Give me 1 sec here, folks. I know for a fact. How do I share? Input device, output device.
Schooling for digital culture.
Yeah, this was actually made by my professor, Professor Worwood. Brilliant guy, and he made this, documenting his son. He told me this was one of his least favorite documentaries, but I found it very insightful, so to speak. Output device, speakers. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how is it I share my sound.
Yeah, well, because your microphone is one device, but then like your computer speakers is considered another device. So I don't think that. I mean, because I can hear you through your microphone, but it's because your computer audio, we won't be able to hear unless you can somehow link it with with Discord. All right, but either way, if we are unable to play the video, people can have access. I'll put a link in the description for people to see.
Yeah, it's a very good video. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, folks.
It's okay.
This is one of the key things about digital culture. We sometimes struggle with technology, but it's a good video. It explains, it goes into detail. It even explains some of the stuff that I was explaining to you, like the Memex machine, and why these are all like in getting us to ideate, because all these machines, and all these devices, like the internet, they were designed to solve a problem, and that was being able to have access to information, for us to gain access to information. But it's like, for example, there's actually a quote here by Thomas Jefferson. Hold on. Hold on a sec, folks. I can actually find
You
this.
have a
Okay,
lot of
document.
tabs open.
I'm a busy man, bro. And the full bull is available here. Okay, whereas it appears that, however, certain forms of government are better calculated than others to protect individuals in free exercise of their natural rights, and at the same time themselves better guarded against degeneracy, yet experience has shown that even under the best forms of entrusted with power have in time and by slow operations perverted it into tyranny, and it is believed that most effectual means of preventing this would be to eliminate as far as participable minds of the people at large, and more especially give them knowledge of those facts which history exhibits, that those possess thereby experience of other ages and countries, they may be enabled to know the ambition and under all the shapes and prompt to exert the natural powers to defeat the purposes.
Okay.
Now, what does he mean by that? The reason I brought that up, and is because what Thomas Jefferson is trying to say. I'm not going to read this all, but what Thomas Jefferson is trying to say, like here, they were talking about public schooling, is the fact that the powers that be have failed to, yeah, don't get me wrong, school systems have upgraded in technology, but their teaching methods in some ways have not evolved. And that's one of the things that I see. One of the things that I see, especially being at UConn Stanford, is especially being part of the DMD program, is the teaching methods have evolved, where we're now able to adapt more to online learning, and in a way that's more interactive, and in a way that's much more efficient, in my honest opinion. Like, don't get me wrong, there's still things that you need to do in person, but to use technology as a teaching method, and so far it's just been used for research, but there's other ways that they can implement this. And right now, what Thomas Jefferson brings up in this is the fact that the powers that be are trying to goose step us back into, like, having less access to information, which is kind of taking a step backwards in the evolution of how humanity has evolved.
Yeah, going back
and
to the
adapted
dinosaur age, basically. They
Yeah.
want to take us back to the caveman times of the 90s.
I want to go that far, but they kind of want to limit us, and they want to limit us because they want to make profit off of it.
Okay. All right, great.
They'd rather
Yep.
have profit over freedom of information, and I think that's very sad.
Yeah, it's I mean, to block people from freedom of information, basically to limit us from what they want us to see, right? Now,
Exactly.
all right, so I'm gonna stop sharing your screen, George, and I'm just gonna go back.
Yep. Hold on, I'll hit stop sharing. Yep. So all those articles, as we may think, if you want to know more about the Memex machine, if you want to know more about, how Thomas Jefferson's speech definitely plays a key part into this, and take a look at Class of 2032 to understand how digital culture is affecting, teaching and learning, and how, we need to nurture this very well, because it's a very evolving age, and things are evolving very rapidly, and things are changing more now than ever, because now we're able to get a web page in 6 seconds, versus back then we had to wait 6 months for a book. So the access of information is very quick.
Wait, we had to wait 6 months for a what?
A book.
To download a book?
No. A physical book.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, now think about it. We're able to get that information that's in a book in 6 seconds. But now they're trying to, these companies who prefer to make a profit off the internet and care less about the people having access to information and care less about us having the ability to look up this information, want to goose step us by eliminating net neutrality. And that's why net neutrality is important, that we protect it, because we want to have an open network of shareable information.
Yes, definitely. And hold on. Okay, so we talked about cloud gaming. We talked about net neutrality. Now let's kind of like bring it all together now. And I'm gonna wait. Can you see my screen, George?
No.
No,
wait,
hold on.
I can't.
Shit, wait, let me
You haven't
share.
shared it yet.
Sorry, hold on, let me fix that.
All right.
All right, can you see me now?
I can see you. Yeah, I see your icon of your Discord icon.
Wait, but you should be able to click where it says stream.
I see your icon, and then it see what looks like a peach background.
Right, can you see where my mouse? Can you see the page I'm on right now?
No.
Okay, on the right side of your screen, you should have like, like my icon, your icon, and then at the top where it says like stream.
I don't see that. I see your.
Wait.
I see.
I mean, I'm sharing. I'm sharing my screen. We were doing this before.
I see. Oh, yeah, but when you share, you have to share. It says specifically what you want to share. Like, go back into it, and because when you share a screen, it shows you like what you're going to be sharing. So you have to
Hold on.
pick specifically. Are you going to share your Discord screen, or are you going to share what you're seeing on YouTube?
Yeah, entire screen share.
No, you're still sharing your icon. You have to, when you hit share, it gives you options.
Crap.
Like for me, like for example, it shows me my applications, what I have open, and if I want to share any of those applications, and then it's like screens. Yeah, you want to share what you're looking at in an application.
All right, how about now?
When you hit, no, okay.
Oh man.
Hit unshare, hit share, and you should see 2 tabs that say applications and screens. Click on the one that says applications.
What the? Okay, share your screen. God damn it. Okay, entire screen, Windows, Chrome tab.
Yeah.
Entire screen or Chrome tab.
Yeah, Chrome tab.
Okay, so how about now?
I don't see it.
What the fuck?
Like here. Here, I'll share what I'm seeing.
Oh, wait, hold on. Shit. All right, god damn it. We're having some technical difficulties now.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, share your screen, George.
Okay, so I'm going to share Kadlach. I shared this tab, so you pick like which, but for some reason for you, it goes to, it just shows a peach background and then your Discord icon.
Can you see it now?
No, you haven't shared. You haven't shared it. No.
You can't see it?
No, I see.
Oh my goodness.
That's weird. That's very weird. Huh. Weird.
Says change window. How about now?
No.
What the fuck, man? God damn it. Okay, we're and we're trying to like wrap up this show here. We're having technical difficulties. Hold on a second, guys. Okay, stop streaming. Now I'm going to share my screen again. Andy Matrix. Can you see it now?
No, I
What the-
don't. Like when I see it's an icon of what looks like,
Wait, an icon right? Is it right in the middle or on the right side of the screen?
before it was on the middle, but now what I'm seeing is a symbol of a webcam with a red line going through it.
In the middle?
Yeah, and it's a white background with a blue webcam with a red line going through it.
What the fuck?
Just summarize it. Just summarize it. I don't need,
All right, fuck it, man. All right. So, all right. So, anyways, I'm on the Steam Deck website just for just for kicks, just because it looks cool. But, okay. So yeah. So just to summarize it, with cloud gaming and net neutrality. So basically, cloud gaming is the future. Cloud gaming is the future, and that means that we're gonna heavily depend on the internet, right? We're gonna heavily depend on the internet. But I mean, by then, in a few years, the internet is gonna be super fast. Like when the pandemic started in 2020, it's the reason why so many people were able to work from home is because now our internet is much faster than it was like 10 years ago, back in 2010, 2008, right?
Yeah.
In the last recession in 2008, we didn't have the same internet speed as we do now. Now you can get 400 gigabytes of 400 megabytes of downloadable speed for your internet, right? So that's why people are able to work from home so easily. So in the future, we're probably gonna have like a gigabyte per second or something like that in the future. Depending, I guess, if 5G is safe enough. So, I was telling you, George, that in the future, consoles are not gonna be your main device. Your main device is basically gonna be your personal computer, your Android, your smartphone, your tablet. Those are gonna be your devices. And then in the future, those devices are gonna have more gigabytes. Because the games are getting bigger and bigger. I mean, a PlayStation 4 game, PlayStation 5 game is like 30 gigs, 50 gigs. Final Fantasy 7 Remake was 70 gigs. Kingdom Hearts was like 50 gigabytes for one game. So in the future, each device is gonna need at least like 1,000, 1 terabyte, 1,000 gigabytes.
Well, here's what they're not accounting for. Now, depending on your internet speed, I imagine that's how good your game would work on the cloud.
Yeah.
So you would need to have good internet. And here's the big drawback. If we don't fix the whole net neutrality thing and we don't all get good internet, depending on the internet you have, you might not be able to run your game well because you have bad internet connection.
Yeah, that's true. And actually, you know what? People are actually experiencing this with Google Stadia. You've heard of Google Stadia, right?
No, I have not.
Okay, so Google Stadia. You can't see it, but go to Google Stadia or just Google it. Just Google Stadia. It's supposed to be a cloud-based game. It was $15 a month, and Google was gonna have their own universal controller, right? And
Yeah.
I actually had a friend who tried it out, and I honestly didn't like the idea. Because I just didn't see the point of it. For the simple fact that you could not own the game, right? You had no ownership of the game. But basically, it was like Netflix, except, streaming. And it failed. Google Stadia failed. Like, you don't hear a lot of people talking about it because it sucks.
Yep.
Right? It sucks. It's just no good. Amazon is going to start their own video, game streaming service called Amazon Luna. So you can look that up as well. And thus far, the main problem with cloud gaming is the lagging. When you go on YouTube, you look up all these reviewers. The main problem is the lagging. So if you don't have fast enough internet, Like you're probably not gonna have a smooth gameplay. You're gonna be lagging, and you might get if you're playing online, you might even get killed.
Wow.
So your internet connection is gonna have to do, and also I don't mean again with net neutrality, like if your cable provider, if these companies succeed in in taking away net neutrality, whoever Microsoft is under, that might affect you. That might also affect you. So, and things are gonna be, they get more expensive overall. But yeah. So anything you want to add to this, to the whole idea?
Um, I mean, the whole idea, honestly, I think that by trying to solve certain problems, they're creating problems, which is this is a big key part of design here, folks. Because a lot of people think design is creating something neat. No, design is about problem solving and ideating.
Yeah, but they
Every
don't they
day,
don't want hardware though. They don't want hardware.
yeah, that's exactly the problem that they have is they want to cut back on cost of hardware, but by doing that, they are creating a whole nother problem altogether.
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't think they fully have thought through the ramifications of eliminating hardware because there's always going to be problems, and because of Moore's law, they're going to try to solve. Actually, let me just look that let me look that up real quick. Mind if I share my screen?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Hold on. Let me go to my. Let me look up Moore's law. Okay. Moore's law. No quote. Okay. Okay, here it is. Moore's law: the number of transistors and resistors on a chip doubles every 24 months. Now, what does that mean? And here's another one. Bill Gates comment. It says the truth of Moore's law has made a remarkable things possible on the software side, and I think natural user interfaces and all their forms are equally significant. Now, what does Moore's law mean? So everything technology, it's supposed to advance every 24 months. We're supposed to progress, and that's true. Progression is good when it comes to technology, but I think that they need to think through every possible ramification, and not, because right now they're just trying to progress things because they want to make more profit
Yeah.
rather than consider, like, would this improvement be uh would this improvement be a hindrance or an inconvenience for their users, or would it make their lives easier? That's what some companies are not seeing. Yeah, they need to make money off of it, but they also need to make it convenient for people.
But that's the
For the
thing.
people that
Cloud gaming is convenient for the consumer.
convenient, yeah, it's convenient as far as it gets fixing, spatial and probably some temporal issues. However, there's going to be a temporal issue there if uh, you know, if net neutrality gets eliminated, where, okay, let's say Comcast says, "Oh, you cannot access this gaming platform because it is not included in our package,"
Mm-hmm.
and so therefore, that gaming platform is going to lose money because then everyone who has like Comcast who can't access whatever platform that is, be it PlayStation, Google, uh, Xbox, Microsoft, they're gonna be like, you know what? What is the point of being on this platform if I can't even use it on my own internet service because my provider will not allow it?
Mm-hmm.
Versus when they have a physical copy of it, okay, I don't need to be online. I just insert the disc and play it. Boom. So there is a huge drawback that I think a lot of developers did not look at with this, and it's going to be a huge detriment in their sales and also gaming culture as a whole. if we don't keep net neutrality.
Right. Now, I want to go.
It's either fix net neutrality or keep physical media.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
definitely.
go ahead.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So we talked a lot about net neutrality, but now I want to talk about as far as gaming because hardware obviously with cloud gaming they're gonna start getting rid of hardware. Hardware is too expensive, so I relate this. I relate this to what happened in 2020, where like let me tell you what happened with my job. Right? So my job, everybody started working from home, right? So my company saved money on rent. So the building they were renting the first floor and the fourth floor and fifth floor, right? And so everybody was sent home, work from home. So now the company does not need to pay for their own internet in that building. People, the employees pay for their own internet, right? We pay for our own internet, and it saves the company money, right? So
Yeah.
it's kind of similar with cloud gaming, where Microsoft and Sony, they don't have to create a new console. You have your own internet connection, and then through the cloud, through your own computer, your own device, you access their operating system, their console on the server on the cloud, right? So
Right.
it saves them the trouble of making hardware and shipping it out, and then it gives you the conveniency of just playing on your computer, right? But so what's gonna happen is that since basically the ball is on your court when it comes to hardware, right? So what's gonna happen is that they might start doing what Nintendo Switch and Valve. Remember what I told you about the Valve Steam Deck, where it's just like
Yeah.
this portable device where you can play. It's basically a handheld device, but then you can also put it on a dock where you can play on a bigger screen. Basically, everybody's gonna start copying Nintendo Switch in the future, right? So, I mean, Sony's not the best at making handheld devices, but they might just go that route for the sake of saving money. Have a smaller device that can, that's basically a handheld gaming PC. And instead of $400, they might, you might be able to get it for like $250. Very, very cheap, very affordable, and they might just do that for the people that want something in their hands, that want a console, like the Valve Steam Deck. But everything eventually is just gonna start shrinking. So, and another thing, so because your computer is gonna be your asset, the price of gaming laptops might come down. I say so. I paid $1,800 for mine's. So the price of my laptop is gonna probably go down to $1,000. For the same features, a Ryzen, the same chip, the same RAMs, right? And then in the future, having a 16 or 32 RAM gigabyte computer is gonna become more common at a lower price. So I think the price of hardware is gonna come down as everything becomes like more global. Cause look at Microsoft. Like Microsoft said, they said okay. They want to reach 3 billion people. That's a very ambitious goal. And honestly, like, if you look at what they're doing, it's very reachable. Very, very, very possible at this point where we know where they are. So, for the people that do want hardware, for the people that don't want to just play on their laptop, so that they won't burn their own pocket, and so that they won't lose profit like they were doing with creating consoles, they might just create something like the Valve Steam Deck for people, something portable, and just get it over and just sell it at a lower price. What do you think?
I mean, if they sell something portable, yes, and so the games can be accessed through that way, shape, or form, yes. Though there's still that issue of like, if net neutrality done away with, are you going to be able to access the internet through that portable device?
Well, yeah, I mean, with the Valve,
yes.
the Valve Steam Deck is basically a gaming PC.
No, you're not getting what I mean. I mean, like, if net neutrality goes away, and let's say you want to get, like, let's say you want to access it through the Valve Steam Deck, but the only way to access games from the Valve Steam Deck is if you have Optimum Internet, but you have Xfinity, or you have Dish Network TV Internet,
All
or
right.
you have Frontier.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
How are
of
you
course.
how are you going to be able to access the games through the Valve Steam Deck if your internet connection does not let? It could be that they won't let third-party devices, which in this case, the Valve Steam Deck can be considered that. The Valve Steam Deck, it could probably connect, but it won't be able to download the games because of what your internet provider allows you to download.
Yeah, man.
So either way, I think even though you solved the spatial issue by getting rid of hardware, you created a whole nother temporal issue, which it's like, okay, you have no hardware, you don't have to worry about something taking up space in your room, but now you have to worry whether your internet provider will let you access the games that you want.
Yeah, and another question is like, what are the chances? What are the chances of this happening in other countries, and not necessarily like first world countries like America, Canada, England, Japan, but like, what are the chances of this happening in like underdeveloped countries like India, South America? I don't know. I guess Argentina. What are the chances of that happening?
If it can happen in the U.S., it can happen anywhere.
Right, but I mean, because in the U.S. we have multiple internet providers. Some countries don't have that many internet providers. Like especially in underdeveloped countries.
Well, the thing is, a lot of underdeveloped countries, many of them aren't going to be focused on consuming these games.
Right,
but they're going to be focused on. They're going to be more focused on trying to have open access to information, which. Who knows? Because they run on different providers than we do, they may have access, and they may end up developing much better than the U.S.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, because this problem seems to be that's mainly going to affect people living in the U.S., right? In countries
Right.
like England, first world countries. But as far as like underdeveloped countries, they're gonna be like, listen, we want access to everything. We don't want to restrict people from anything. So, just one internet provider for everybody. Let's all have access to as much information on the internet as we can. And so I don't think it's gonna be a problem in those countries, but it definitely will be a problem in America because we're the richest country, and these companies, they just want to fill their pockets, right? So
Yeah.
all right, so we got to start wrapping it up because we've been at it for about 2 hours now. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, man. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, bro. We haven't done this, and just to let everyone know, me and Andy Matrix, we used to run a podcast back in the day, which I picked back up again. If I may, I used to be called ACF Radio. Now it's rebranded as ACFM. To check out more on that, go to acfm.us.
Wait, hold on. You said ACFM. Wait,
.us.
ACFM.us.
.us. For more content, pretty soon I'll be producing more content, especially for those of you who play the Digimon card game. I'll be producing Digimon card gaming content. So more of that.
There's a Digimon card game?
Yeah, and believe it or not, it's actually one of the biggest. It's actually one of the most prominent card games right now. It's because a lot of card games have gotten expensive.
Yeah, like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Expensive. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic. I still miss some of the Magic decks that I used to have. I miss those, and if I ever get the money, I'll rebuild those decks again. But right now, Digimon is all the rave right now. I enjoy its battle system. More on that will come soon on ACFM as more information becomes more aware to you guys. But yeah, man, this feels like way back in the day, back when we used to run 2 to 3 hour,
ACF Radio. We had
episodes.
ACFradio.com, and back then we were one of the top anime blogs in the industry. I think we were like the top 20, something like that. And the only thing
and
is, we were using Blog Talk Radio. Now we're using, YouTube because YouTube has live, which is great.
yeah, and I think I'm also, believe it or not, I still have access to the studio on Blog Talk Radio. I still have the password and everything.
Well, I mean, it's useless now because now you can interact with people live on YouTube, with YouTube. So
Yeah, true. But all our old episodes are still on there if you guys want to check them out.
By the way, guys. So George, so I'm here at acfm.us. I'm showing everybody where to find your stuff. So everybody, check out George's website, acfm.us, to check out his content. Where else can they find you? What other stuff do you have? And do you have like an online store? If you're for your podcast, where can they go for your podcast?
For my podcast, believe it or not, I'm going to be doing the first episode. We've been, working on content on the first episode coming up. It'll be coming up in roughly about 2 to 3 weeks. I'm going to be pre-recording the podcast, and you'll be able to access it on Anchor. And Anchor, will also make it available
Anchor.com?
on Spotify. Yeah, Anchor.com, and it'll be available on Spotify. It'll be available wherever you could get your hands, on pre-recorded podcasts, and I'll be able I'll do a lot of live events, and a lot of streams. It's I'm picking it back up again, like me and Andy folks, we've been at the podcast game. We've been at it for let me see, because we started ACF Radio in 2012.
Yep.
And yeah, we've been at it for almost 10 years.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that, but we also quit. We also quit, remember? So.
Well, long story short, folks, there was 11 of us on this.
Oh my God!
Running this, 11 of us, and sometimes when you make your company too big, we had a falling out.
Yeah, but anyways, we're all adults now, so.
Yeah, we all grew. Me and Andy, we're still good friends, and now we're. We each doing our own thing, but we're supporting each other. And also, Andy, I want to thank you for having me on here. Dude, it feels great doing this again.
Oh, yeah. And also, hold on. Do you still have the YouTube channel?
Yep. I still have the YouTube channel. Yes, you could go to the ACF. It's still labeled ACF Radio. We still have yet to work with our rebranding team on it to rebrand the channel.
Yeah, go ahead and check out ACF Radio on YouTube. I think, are you going to continue making content on the channel?
Yeah, I'm still going to continue making content on the channel. I've got better production equipment now. And, as it's all based on how my schedule becomes available. Because right now, like I said, I'm at UConn right now. I'm at UConn Stanford. And I'm also working on a lot of projects right now. But I definitely picked it back up thanks to the help of the Gamer Kage. Shout out to the Gamer Kage.
Who's the Gamer Kage?
Content. Yeah, he's part of a Gamer GAMR, which has helped me get ACFM back off the ground, and also
nice.
The Gamer Kage, also known as TGK. He also makes music. Check him out on Spotify. He actually makes rap music that's based on anime. It's all anime, references, and it's very. It sounds like it's mainstream, but it's all stuff that geeks and anime nerds would relate to. It's amazing. Check them out.
All right, great, George. And also, just a little self-promotion at the end of this video before we wrap this up. Make sure to check out the AndyArtTV.com. That's AndyArtTV.com. I blog about basically the same things on this channel. I have anime recommendations. You can check out the recommendations tab where I recommend some anime games. And go, click the link in the description box to check out my Amazon store. I sell some pretty cool t-shirts, anime t-shirts, joke t-shirts. So if you want to help support the channel, and also if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can basically get shirts for, with free shipping. And also follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/AndyArtTV. Yeah, man, that is it for this episode. I had a lot of fun talking about cloud gaming and net neutrality. George, thank you for being on the show. For all you guys watching, any last words, George?
last words. Thank you, everyone. Everyone always, check out Andy Matrix's content. Dude, you need to do a backstory of how you evolved from Big Andy to Andy Matrix.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
I would love to see that in comic book form. Like, like you get into an accident and all of a sudden you evolve into Andy Matrix and you have more power.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, like he goes from being a big mafia don to like a superhero.
All right, guys.
That'd be something cool I'd like to see.
All right, guys. So thank you for watching, guys. This is Andy Matrix and
Jorge Paiz.
See you guys later. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment below. Peace.